Ethan adjusted the strap of his backpack as he stepped onto the docking platform. The space station loomed above him, a massive structure of metal and glass orbiting the swirling blue and green of the alien planet below. He had read about the station in briefings, but nothing prepared him for the reality of it. The hum of energy fields, the soft glow of walkways, and the occasional flash of light from ships coming and going made it feel alive, almost like a city suspended in the void. Ethan had been sent here for a research project, studying the biological adaptations of a newly discovered alien species. The paperwork had been overwhelming, the training intense, but nothing in his human life had prepared him for sharing quarters with an alien. His roommate, Lyra, was waiting in the main atrium. She was striking, even by alien standards. Her skin shimmered with iridescent patterns that changed with her mood, and her eyes were a deep reflective violet. She moved with a grace that made Ethan feel awkward and clumsy in comparison. He swallowed nervously and stepped forward. "Hello," Ethan said, trying to keep his voice steady. "I'm Ethan. I'll be your temporary roommate while we're on this station." Lyra tilted her head slightly, regarding him with curiosity. She didn't speak at first, and Ethan felt a pang of uncertainty. Finally, she responded, her voice melodic but firm. "I am Lyra. Your species is different." Ethan smiled awkwardly. "Yes, I suppose we are." Lyra's lips curled into what he guessed was a smile, though it was hard to tell with her alien facial features. She gestured toward the elevator. "Follow me. You will see your quarters." Ethan followed, trying not to trip over his own feet. The hallway was sleek, metallic, and illuminated by soft white lights. Panels along the walls displayed information about the station, energy levels, and environmental readings. The design was functional but elegant, with a subtle beauty that Ethan found calming. When they arrived at the quarters, Lyra opened the door. The room was small but comfortable, with 2 sleeping areas, a common workspace, and a window overlooking the planet below. Ethan set his bag down and took a deep breath. "This is nice," he said. Lyra nodded. "It is sufficient. You will need to adapt quickly. The planet's orbit affects station conditions, and I will be conducting daily exercises and rituals. You must respect them," Ethan nodded. "Of course. I'll do my best." The first few days were challenging. Ethan quickly realized that living with an alien roommate was more complicated than he had imagined. Lyra's routines were precise and unfamiliar, from her dietary needs to her stretching exercises that seemed more like dances than physical workouts. She was patient but unyielding, and Ethan often found himself fumbling through her instructions. One evening, as Ethan was preparing a meal in the small kitchen, he noticed Lyra moving near the window. Her patterns shifted, glowing faintly with a rhythm that seemed to pulse in time with the planet's rotation. Ethan was fascinated and cautious, unsure if he should interrupt her. He had read about alien mating seasons but had never witnessed one. "Lyra?" he asked softly. She turned, her eyes catching the light from the kitchen. "You observe?" she asked, not unkindly. Yes, I just wanted to understand. I don't want to intrude." Lyra studied him for a long moment. "Curiosity is a human trait. It is acceptable." She stepped closer, her movements fluid and deliberate. "This season. It is a natural cycle. It is important for my species. You may see changes. You may feel tension." Ethan nodded, trying to hide his nervousness. "I'll do my best to respect that." Over the next few days, the changes became more apparent. Lyra's energy levels fluctuated. Her rituals grew more elaborate, and Ethan noticed the subtle signs of heightened emotion. It was confusing and at times overwhelming. He struggled to maintain his normal routines while respecting Lyra's needs. Then came the night of the first full moon cycle. The station experienced a minor system malfunction, and Ethan found himself trapped in the observation deck with Lyra. The planet below shone brilliantly in the window, its moons casting long, dramatic shadows across the room. Lyra moved to the center of the deck, her body glowing faintly as her patterns shifted in a mesmerizing display. Ethan watched transfixed. It was not aggressive or threatening. It was beautiful. A ritual as old as her species, a dance of connection and life. Suddenly, Lyra noticed him. Her eyes met his, and for a moment Ethan feared he had crossed a line. But instead of retreating, she spoke softly. "You are here. You may assist if you wish, only to help. It is ceremonial." Ethan hesitated. He did not fully understand what she meant, but felt a pull of curiosity and a sense of responsibility. Slowly he stepped forward. Lyra guided him, showing him the motions of the ritual, not intimate but delicate and precise. Ethan followed, learning quickly, his human intuition helping him adapt. The tension in the room shifted from awkwardness to a shared focus. As the ritual progressed, Ethan realized something important. Humans were often underestimated among alien species because they relied on predictable methods. But in situations requiring empathy, quick thinking, and courage, humans could shine in ways even the most advanced species could not anticipate. By the end of the night, the ritual concluded safely. Lyra's patterns settled into a calm rhythm, and she regarded Ethan with a hint of approval. "You are different," she said simply. "Thank you," Ethan replied. "For letting me help," Lyra nodded. "You may stay. You will learn much if you continue to observe and respect." Ethan smiled, feeling a mixture of relief and excitement. Living with Lyra was still challenging, but he was beginning to see the beauty of her world and the strength of his own humanity. As he looked out at the planet below, he realized that this unexpected encounter had changed something within him. He was not just a visitor on this station, he was part of a living, breathing experiment in understanding and cooperation across species. The night passed quietly, with both roommates retreating to their respective quarters. But Ethan could not shake the feeling that something had shifted. The station, the planet, and Lyra herself had opened a door to possibilities he had never imagined, and he knew, without a doubt, that the coming days would be filled with challenges, lessons, and moments that would test the limits of human courage and perhaps even create bonds that spanned stars. The morning light from the alien planet crept across the station, casting soft colors through the observation deck's wide windows. Ethan stirred awake, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. Last night's experience with Lyra had left him both amazed and puzzled. He could still see her iridescent patterns glowing softly in his memory, moving with a precision and beauty that seemed almost impossible. He glanced at the clock panel, noting that it was early. Lyra was already up. Ethan could hear her gentle movements in the adjoining room, a soft hum that resonated through the floor and walls. He dressed quickly, not wanting to be late for whatever she had planned next. Lyra emerged moments later, her patterns subtly shifting with the new day. "You are awake. Good. Today the rituals must be performed outside the observation deck," she said. Her voice was calm but carried an undertone of urgency. Ethan nodded, trying to match her composure. "Where exactly are we going?" he asked. "To the terrace above the docking platform. The planet's alignment with its moons enhances the ritual." "It is necessary," Lyra explained, her eyes glinting with seriousness. Ethan followed her through the station corridors, marveling again at the technology and design. Everything was functional yet beautiful, a combination of form and purpose he admired. He couldn't help but notice how effortlessly Lyra navigated the hallways, her body moving like liquid metal. When they arrived at the terrace, the planet and moons were aligned perfectly, casting dramatic shadows across the metallic floor. The view was breathtaking. Ethan felt a shiver of awe. He realized that he was witnessing something rare, something that no human scientist could have studied without this kind of close experience. Lyra took her place at the center of the terrace and gestured for Ethan to follow her instructions. "The ritual must be completed carefully. It is not just for my species' biology, but for our connection to the planet's energy. You must watch, learn, and assist where needed." Ethan nodded, his heart pounding with both excitement and apprehension. As the ritual began, Lyra's patterns shifted faster and more vividly. Her movements became fluid, almost like a dance, but with an underlying intensity that demanded focus. Ethan mirrored her steps, doing his best to keep up. The wind from the planet's atmosphere whipped across the terrace, adding an element of danger to the already complex ritual. Ethan had to adjust constantly, using both his mind and body to anticipate Lyra's motions. He felt an unusual connection forming, not just with her, but with the environment, the station, and the planet itself. Suddenly, a surge of energy from the planet disrupted the ritual. Sparks of blue and green light arced across the terrace, creating dangerous streaks of electricity in the open space. Lyra froze for a moment, her patterns flickering wildly as she tried to maintain control. Ethan acted instinctively. He stepped forward, guiding her away from the most dangerous sparks while keeping his own footing. Using his human ingenuity, He grabbed a portable shielding device from a nearby control panel and activated it, creating a protective barrier around them. Lyra's eyes widened, not in fear, but in admiration. You adapt quickly. Your species' instincts are unusual. Ethan focused on the task at hand, adjusting the barrier and helping Lyra regain her rhythm. Together they worked in tandem, human intuition complementing alien precision. The ritual, which had seemed almost impossible to complete in these conditions, began to stabilize. Minutes felt like hours, but eventually, the energy surge subsided. Lyra's patterns returned to a calm, steady rhythm. She took a deep breath, her eyes meeting Ethan's. You have done well. I would not have completed this safely without you. Ethan smiled, though he was still catching his own breath. I didn't think I could do much, but I'm glad I could help. Lyra stepped closer, her glow dimming to a soft, steady light. You are different from other humans I have met. Courage, adaptability, understanding. These traits are valuable. You have earned my respect. Ethan felt a warmth in his chest, not from attraction but from recognition. To have an alien of her stature acknowledge his abilities was more meaningful than he could have imagined. He realized that this experience went beyond cultural exchange. It was about trust, teamwork, and mutual respect. The ritual concluded fully, and Lyra's energy settled into a gentle hum. She turned to Ethan and gestured toward the edge of the terrace. Come, see the final stage. Ethan followed, watching as Lyra raised her arms and allowed the alignment of the moons to bathe her in light. The colors on her skin shifted one last time, creating a breathtaking spectacle that Ethan knew he would never forget. The ritual had been completed not just safely, but beautifully. Afterward, they returned to their quarters, both quiet but not uncomfortable. Ethan reflected on the events of the day, realizing how much he had learned, not just about Lyra, but about the strength and potential of humans. He had faced an alien ritual, navigated danger instinctively, and contributed meaningfully in a situation no human was expected to handle. Lyra, for her part, seemed contemplative. She did not speak immediately, but Ethan noticed her glance linger on him longer than before. There was a subtle acknowledgement, a silent understanding that transcended words. As days passed, the station returned to its normal routine, but Ethan and Lyra's bond had changed. They worked together with newfound efficiency, sharing knowledge, laughter, and mutual respect. Ethan observed more of Lyra's species' behaviors, while Lyra began to take interest in human problem-solving methods. Their differences, once a source of tension, had become a source of strength. One evening, while they observed the planet from their deck, Ethan spoke quietly. I never imagined I'd experience anything like this when I joined the station. Lyra's patterns shimmered gently in response. You have proven that humans can adapt, understand, and act when it matters most. That is why I accept you here, not just as a roommate, but as an ally. Ethan smiled, realizing the gravity of her words. In a station filled with advanced species and complex rituals, he had found a place where human courage and empathy mattered. The story of their unexpected encounter during the mating season had concluded, but the connection they had formed promised many more adventures. Ethan felt confident now, not only in his role aboard the station, but in the potential of humans in the wider galaxy. The planet below continued to turn, moons casting shifting shadows, and the station hummed with life. Ethan looked at Lyra, feeling a sense of pride and wonder. He knew that the galaxy was full of challenges, but humans, resourceful, brave, and adaptable, were ready for whatever came next. And with that thought, Ethan and Lyra turned back to the observation deck side by side, ready for the future and whatever unexpected encounters it might bring.